Hey, it's Mel and today I'm filming my June wrap up and July TBR. I actually read quite a few books in June and I'm kind of proud of myself. The first book is a work in progress memoir by Connor Franta. Connor Franta is a YouTuber slash content creator and he's really funny and I really like his videos, so I got his book and I really like that too. It has loads of pictures in it and it's not very long, so it's easy to just go through really quickly. He has lots of tips for living and stuff like that and I really enjoyed it. The next book I read I also loved a lot, and that is The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Maureen Johnson and Sarah Rees Brennan. This is a collection of short stories following the warlock Magnus Bane from the Mortal Instruments series and the Infernal Devices series. He's amazing and I loved it a lot. In front of every story there was just one page of comic for a scene from the short story. I really liked that you got to see more of Magnus Alec relationship before it was really properly introduced into the books, so that was nice. Magnus Bane is one of my all-time favourite characters because he's just so amazing and I wasn't disappointed by this book, and it's definitely a new favourite book. The next book is one that I loved a little less than the first two books that I read last month, and that is The Traitor Game by B.R. Collins. I haven't seen this on BookTube at all. It's basically about a boy called Michael and his friend Francis who together have this imaginary country in their head, and they worked like really hard on it for a long time, and then it's kind of like the destruction of that, and there were several chapters within the story that took place in the fantasy world, which was interesting, and I really like that perspective thrown in there. The next book will be, as of no surprise to anyone, and that is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan, the fourth book in the Percy Jackson series. I've been going through these books for the last couple months and I'm really enjoying them, and this was definitely a really good one. It was interesting and I really love Greek mythology. The next book that I read I actually loved way more than I thought I would, and that is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I got really attached to like all of the characters and I loved them all, and I wasn't expecting to because this was just another book. So it follows a girl called Blue who's from a family of psychics, but she's the only one who doesn't have any like psychic powers, but she amplifies other people's powers when she's in a room with them. And ever since she was sick, she's been told that when she kisses her true love, he will die. And everything starts when her aunt shows up, telling her that this is the year she'll fall in love. She's always told herself not to get involved with boys because of the curse that she has, and never get involved with Raven Boys, the boys from the local private school, because they're not generally nice people. But her life gets entangled with several of the Raven Boys and she helps them on their quest for a dead Welsh king for some reason. I love this book so much. If you haven't read it, you probably should because it's so involving and it's not like high fantasy, it's just there's a little bit of a magic element that's quite nice. And I finished the last 300 pages of this when the biannual bibliothon started, so I did a week-long readathon in which I read this and the next 3 books. So the book that I read after The Raven Boys was For a Divergent collection by Veronica Roth. This follows the main male protagonist from the Divergent series before he was in the Divergent series and a bit into it. I got this when it came out and I just put it off for quite a while, but I actually really liked it and it was a really fast read, and it was nice to go back into the world when I haven't been in it for quite a while, and I liked him more than I thought I would. The next book that I read is now one of my all-time favourite books, and that is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This is a book about a boy called Simon who is talking anonymously via email to this guy that goes to his school who uses the pseudonym Blue, and he is kind of maybe falling in love with this guy, and they talk with each other about all the stuff with leaving names out obviously, and it's just adorable, and the flirting is like so cute, and by the end I was like falling apart because it was just so amazingly cute. And I have never related to a main character more than in this book, and I'll probably get into that more in the book talk that I hope to do for this book. But basically, in one word, this book is adorable, and in a couple more, intriguing, because I was all like, I need to know who Blue is. Who's Blue? Can I just know who Blue is now? But I didn't look it up because I thought that would ruin the reading experience, and I'm really glad I didn't. This book needs a fandom like immediately. And the last book that I read in the readathon that I read on the last day was Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Last Olympian, the fifth and final book of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. This was a fantastic end to the series, and I can't wait to move on to Heroes of Olympus, and it was just so good. And I loved how there was like so much more Nico in it than before, and I love it when all the Olympians get together. That's like my favourite thing that ever happens in Percy Jackson in several books, and they got together again and it was hilarious as usual. I really should have read these when I was younger, but I didn't, so I'm reading them now, and I've read them now. And the last book that I read last month, and the book that I finished on the last day of the month, was Rebel Bell by Rachel Hawkins. I looked forward to getting this for so long. It's so much better than I thought it would be. It's just so good, so good. Basically, it's about a girl who's prom queen, but like in waiting, and the head of all of the committees, and takes all of the clubs, and she's really popular, and she's at prom, and she goes into the bathroom, and the janitor comes in and dies and kisses her, and it's so weird. And then her history teacher comes in, and then he tries to kill her, which is very horrible, and then she kills him, and then she's suddenly a protector of this guy that she doesn't really like, kind of likes, but like is refusing to acknowledge that she likes him. It's basically Buffy the first season, but without any vampires. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I love this book so much. It was amazing. I like couldn't put it down. So those were all the books that I read last month, and on to the books that I hope to read this month. And the first one that I hope to finish and have already started today is The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, the second book in the Raven Cycle series. This is the book after the Raven Boys, and after reading the Raven Boys I was like, I need the next two, like immediately. So I got them. So far so good, and I'm still in love with the characters, and this one's got Ronan on, and Gainsey's still kind of annoying but kind of adorable at the same time, and Adam's still pretty and like a puppy, and Ronan's still like, I don't think this is a good idea. Why are you making me do all these things that are gonna get us killed? And Blue is still like, well, I would agree with Ronan, but I'm scared he's gonna hit me. The next book is also one that I got last month, and that is In Real Life by Joey Graceffa, My Journey to a Pixelated World. This is another autobiography by a YouTuber, and I don't care because I love all of the YouTubers, well not all of them, but I love some of the YouTubers, and some of those have books. This one also has pictures in, but like way less pictures, and it's gonna be an experience, so I'm looking forward to it. And now onto the third in the row book of books that I want to read this month and bought last month, and that is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily Danforth. This is about a girl whose parents die. She's kind of relieved in all of the horror of her parents not being around, because earlier that day she was kissing a girl, and then she has to move in with more distant family, and I've heard a lot of great things about this, and I just really want to read it, but not as much as the other books that I have. The next book is one that shouldn't be surprising, seeing as the books that I read last month, but it is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series, the series that is after Percy Jackson, but still continuing on with many of the characters, but I think it just introduces some Romans. I don't really need to say anything. I don't even know about this book. It's just gonna be great. And the last book that I hope to read, although I may read more because the book 2-a-thon is coming up on the 27th to the 2nd, but the last book that I hope to read is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, the first book in the Lunar Chronicles. This is a fairy tale retelling where Cinderella is a cyborg in Beijing, and I read the first couple pages on the Kindle when I was in Finland, which was 2 years ago, because it was like really big when I just like subscribed to my first booktubers and they were all like, this book is amazing. I didn't get there then, so I'm gonna get there now. So those were all the books that I wanted to show you today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!